I'm going to start this off by letting you know this is like the 6th time that I try to record this. All right? This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I'm upset. All right? But I have to get this out. So it begins in the story that is in all Abrahamic religions, the story of Jacob and Esau, the twin sons of Isaac and Rebekah. Esau was the firstborn, but Jacob was the one that actually received the covenant lineage. According to the biblical narrative, Jacob's descendants were the ones that were destined to become the people of Israel, while Esau's descendants became the nation of Edom. Remember this. In the Bible, the Edomites are considered relatives of Israel, but they are also political rivals at various times in history. But who cares about history, right? Nobody, because they erased it all. Entertainment purposes only. Esau is described as marrying women from the surrounding tribes. Who are the surrounding tribes? The Canaanites. This caused tension within the family lineage described in the book of Genesis. Right there for all of us to see and read in all of the religions, all 3 of them. So over the centuries, the Edomites lived south of Israel near the region of modern Jordan, the Greater Israel. Remember this. Eventually, parts of the Edomite population were absorbed into Judea during the Second Temple period. One of the most well-known figures connected to Edomite ancestry was Herod the Great. Who was Herod? He was the one that ruled Judea under the Roman Empire at the time of Jesus, all right? Who were the ones that went after Jesus? It was them. It was the Edomites, King Herod, right? It wasn't the Jews. It was the Edomites, the Canaanites. Some historians describe Herod's family as being Idumea. I don't really know how to pronounce it. It's the Greek name for the Edomite region. So throughout the Hebrew scriptures, the prophets repeatedly warned against Israel adopting religious practices from the surrounding areas and cultures, okay? Those would be the Canaanites and the Khazars. And who did they worship? They worship Baal, they worship Moloch, they worship Remphan. So the Jews, it's not the Jews, it's those that are pretending to be the Jews, the synagogue of Satan. The Edomites are the Canaanites, Jacob and Esau. So the Satanists, right? The Satanists have hijacked every single religion on earth, and that's why I do not correspond to any major religion. Esau was cursed. He was the one that married the 2 Canaanite women, and their tribes became the Israelites because they got absorbed into being the Jews by marriage. But they kept their practices from Khazaria. Khazaria was located north of ancient Israel. All right. The neighboring countries were sick of their shit. All right. People would try to travel through Khazaria and they would always go missing. They would go missing. What would happen to them? So I think most of us, if you're listening up to this far, most of us know what would happen to them. Moloch, Baal, Remphan. So Khazaria was a powerful kingdom that was located north of the Caucasus Mountains. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. At its height, between the 7th and 10th centuries, the Khazar state controlled most of the important trade routes that were between Europe and Asia, okay? Some historical sources suggest that parts of the Khazar ruling class adopted Judaism in the 8th or 9th century. And why did they adopt Judaism? Because all the neighboring countries were just like, yo, you better stop worshiping all these gods that, require, So because of this, Khazaria is sometimes mentioned in discussions about the spread of Jewish communities to Eastern Europe, like Ukraine, Poland, etc. So they were not originally Jews, okay? So several foreign deities are mentioned in the biblical text as examples of worship that all of the main prophets condemned. We see them like when they're traveling in the desert burning a bull when Moses went up onto the mountain and he was like, what the hell? I just spoke to God. So these figures include Remphan, Moloch, and Baal, which I have another video that went a little bit viral Speaking of Moloch and Baal. So let's start with Remphan, because Remphan is the star that everybody likes to, you know, be like, ha, I'm Jewish. No, you're not fucking Jewish. You're Canaanite and you're worshiping Remphan. So in Acts 743 is where Stephen referenced the star of your god Remphan. When was the star placed as a Jewish symbol? So the scholars believe the name is Chion. So it's an ancient astral deity associated with planetary worship and is connected to the planet Saturn. All right, I'll just leave that right there for you. And this star, I shouldn't be saying certain names, but this star is the red shield of the Rothschilds. All right, so then is Moloch. In the Hebrew Bible, the prophets would strongly condemn rituals to Moloch. Some scholars believe that the name refers to a deity, while others believe it refers to a type of ritual practice in the ancient Near East. I did a whole video on Moloch. I actually believe Moloch is not necessarily the god, but the ritual that is then given to Baal. Baal is everywhere, right? So we got football, we got baseball, we got basketball, Baal was one of the most widely worshipped gods in the Canaanite world. And the name Baal means Lord or Master. Baal was associated with storms, rain, agriculture, and fertility. In archaeological texts from the ancient city of Ugarit, don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, describes myths which Baal battles the sea god Yam and the death god Mot. Right? This is not my religion. I'm just telling you what the ancient texts say. Because these practices conflicted with the worship of the God of Israel, the Hebrew prophets repeatedly warned against adopting these practices. But what happened? They were not allowed to practice freely, so they had to choose one religion to hide themselves under. So when we talk about like the Jews, it's not necessarily the Jews. It's the people that hid themselves to be able to continue practicing their despicable practices of drinking blood, child sacrifice. And those that really were Jewish have a chance to actually look at this in the face and be like, hey, we've been brainwashed long enough. Every single religion has been overtaken by the synagogue of Satan, but they went the furthest when under the star of Remphan. And Remphan it's the shield, the star of one of the most known families. I'm not gonna say it here because this video already took me like 8 times to post. But the historical context matters, all right? And these people are disguising themselves as Jews. They're not really Jews. So I apologize, for anybody that is Jewish, like, all religions have been overtaken. You need to actually do the work, take out that victim mentality and look at things in the face, because the Star of Remphan didn't originally describe the Jewish faith. So what are you doing? Let's look at the historical context here. What's left of it? Because they burned everything down and rewrote history as we know it. So it's going to take people like us uncovering it and talking about it to be able to get it out there.